All we asked for was one good bloody season. And by God, we've got it. Welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. You sound like The Rock here. For all the millions in attendance and the billions in the chat, we'll get to you. Rich, this is probably going to be a bit of a shambles of a show. What we're going to try and do...
I thought you were going for a different SH word really early.
I've been on the source as well. We're going to try and do a normal show without it deteriorating into us just eulogising over this side. But Rich, when the whole narrative of this podcast for 8 years has been Ipswich messing it up and us praying for a good season, I think we can have a night off from that narrative tonight.
Yeah,
right?
It'll be good to put my brain to rest with all of its worrying about how we're going to conspire to screw stuff up. And as we were talking about just before the start, like yesterday was the total opposite of any experience of a key match in Ipswich Town, let alone podcast history, Ipswich Town history, seemingly. So we are in good boy mood. I might even sing the whole of the Kieran McKenna chant later on, just for everyone's enjoyment. But great day, Ben. Great day. Great weekend as well, because the women bashed Cheltenham 8-0 today as well. So happy days.
Craig, how you feeling?
Yes, I'm okay, thank you. I'm starting to feel a little bit jaded now. We're at 8 o'clock on the Sunday following the Saturday. The croakiness of the voice got a little bit better during the day. My radiant complexion has remained with me since I left the Greyhound pub at 1 o'clock to head down to the pyro thing. And when I got to the ground, one of my mates said, "Your face is looking a little bit red." And then I happened to pass myself in the one of the bathroom mirrors. Thought, for Christ's sake, look at the state of me. But there you go. I blame the meteorology department of all the apps I had that did not forecast blazing hot sunshine and goodness of what temperature was in the back garden of the Greyhound on Saturday.
Right, we're just gonna, for 30 seconds of this, we just have to change tack a little bit because Dave unfortunately wasn't able to make the game yesterday. Got some very, very bad news and lost his father-in-law very, very sadly. Dave is here on the pod. He's a trooper. He's showed up. Obviously, Dave is not going to be commenting on the game. If you want to send kind words, that would probably mean a great deal in the chat. Dave, sincere condolences from all of us and probably all of the chat, and we can't wait to hear your general takes. And I'm so sorry you missed it. I know it's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, but we love that you showed up, mate.
Yeah. No, I thought it'd be kind of appropriate to show up just to as you said from the off, it's been 8 seasons of crap. So, so it's just nice to, it's just nice, isn't it? And I felt, father-in-law Brian, he was a Town fan. He was a Town season ticket holder for 34, 35 years, and then sort of late 80s, early 90s, moved away. I have to say, it moved the other side of the border, that way, and so just went sporadically after that. But a big Town fan and saw pretty much every home game of the title season.
Look how pleased everybody is to see you, mate. Look.
Oh man, that's really nice. Thanks, guys. So as I said to Teresa, my wife, I said I think he'd have probably wanted me to do it. And he always used to ask every Sunday, "Oh, you're doing the podcast?" Don't know he really understood what a podcast was, as I didn't, as I probably still don't, to be fair. But it was he went quite peacefully, so that's the main thing.
And of course, we dedicate this show, and let's dedicate Ipswich's promotion to one night.
Do you know what? I got back. I went. I called in yesterday evening. He was still with us yesterday evening, and I don't think he was taking anything in, but did tell him. So there you go.
There we go. Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dave, and absolute.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, guys,
for coming on, fella. Right. We're going to go into the just eulogising about the season and about how happy we are. But we've got to actually do the podcast, and we've got to try and deconstruct this match, even though, from what I've heard from Rich and Craig, the way it went, everyone seemed to kind of lose it after about 10, 15 minutes, what was actually going on. But let me try and go into professional mode here and immediately hit the wrong button. Oh, my God.
Hey.
There we go.
Professional mode, everyone.
Views. Is there any point me even reading out the Ipswich team? No, we should. To pay credit to this, I'm not even going to call it ridiculous season. I'm going to call it ridiculous 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it's been since Valentine's Day. Someone tell me how many days in the chat it's been since Valentine's Day. Someone Google that, because it has just been the absolute best, hasn't it? Because of these 11 blokes kicking at 75 days, but probably the perfect 75 days, other than Alfie May. Walton in goal, Clark, Wolfenden, Burgess, Davis, Luongo, Morsey, Broadhead, Chaplin, Burns, Hurst. And Dave, they almost kind of have written themselves into Ipswich history now, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I mean that's certainly been the first choice lineup, certainly since the last 14 games, pretty much. As we all knew at the start of the. Prior to that, there had been some rotation, seemingly game in, game off between Hurst and Ladapo, but yeah, that was a fairly settled side after that.
And Rich, you would have done this on the preview show. Any surprises in that Exeter team?
Seb mentioned names at the Greyhound, and I've forgotten them. But I think the headline is the absentees. Really, Stansfield ended up on the bench, but not able to start. No Nombe, no Brown. So really, it's a makeshift front two there. Really,
Nombe.
And I think it's a left winger and a right winger playing the front two positions. So look, Exeter off the back of a really tough run of games. Peterborough, Plymouth, I think. I'm trying to remember the others. Sheffield Wednesday,
Rich,
obviously,
last
week.
Everyone.
I think I calculated
Derby,
it.
I think
they've played the entire. There was a point where they were going to play. There was like one game in there that wasn't top 8, but then they basically played the entire top 8 in their running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the kind of run-in that you fear, we talked about this on the pre-match, is kind of similar to in 01-02 season when we ended the season with Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc. But yeah, they were safe. A really tough run of games for them. You kind of felt really sorry for them because we've just on this relentless run of form, and any team, I think, apart from maybe a few teams in League One, would have faced an absolute machine of an Ipswich Town side. It's so great to say that. Fully, functional, the Harry from Bath trademark, covalent bonds. It was always going to be a tough afternoon for Exeter. And
cheers, everyone, by the way.
Cheers. And so it proved.
Craig, you called it the pyro thingy in your typically underselling way there. But we got wind of, I think it was a Blue Action thing, wasn't it? We've seen this actually really work on Liverpool Champions League games, haven't we? This, stoking up the atmosphere. And obviously, the incredibly cynical, curmudgeonly part of my brain is going, "Oh, don't do that, lads. What if we draw 1-1 now and Sheffield Wednesday win?" But just talk to us about this pyro thing, as you called it.
Yeah, well, so I was there with Oscar, my boy, and he wanted to go and see it, understandably. So we left the pub about 1-ish to head down to the ground. I thought, well, we'll probably get down, and there'll be a few people just lining the side of the road, etc. When we get down there, and we got to the club shop and sort of turned right to go along the back of the north stand, and you could see from there, down like near the fan zone end, there were hordes of people. It was packed, and already the pyro was going up, the flares, smoke was going up, and the big flags, they got half a dozen or so, those massive flags were flying back and forth. As you got closer and closer, sort of towards where that burger van is, that's pretty much where you could get to. That's where it stopped, because everyone was congregated in the road. They weren't pushed to the side of the road. They were in the street, in the road, and it was just mobbed all around where the bus park is, where the bus station is, round towards the ticket office, the little ticket office porter cabin there. So we managed to get right on the corner there, pretty much as the two roads bend into each other. And I met Mike. Mike was getting his hair cut. He was shitting
amazing. How much did he raise in the end? I saw him at Barnsley.
$3,000, was it? $2,000, $3,000?
I think it's still going as well. Yeah.
Get your applause emojis in the chat, please, for
superb.
Bits. That's absurdly good, isn't it?
And did you see the after cut? He looked pretty good. He did. He's sharp. He looks sharp.
Yeah. Sorry,
I'll tell you what. With he's got a seriously full head of hair there. It's not going to take him long to grow it bloody back again. He'll be doing it again in a year's time.
I'll give him a fortnight. He'll look like Benjamin Bloom,
like Richard Keys. Yeah,
it's like one of those plasticine things. You used to push the heads down, and their hair used to pop out the top.
He's on £3,660 every month.
Wow.
Yeah,
perfect.
Insanity.
Applause.
So yeah. So anyway,
Superb.
back to the pyro stuff, and it was really impressive. The crowds were singing. They say the flares were going off, and then you sort of got an inkling that the bus was on its way because people's phones started to go up, like looking down the road to Sir Alf Ramsey Way, and then the flares went off and the smoke was everywhere, and the coach was just edging around because everyone was in the street, so it was edging 1 mile an hour along, and chants were going off, and it was just a fantastic atmosphere. And you could see McKenna at the front was applauding everyone as he was as they were edging past and stuff like that. And transpired speaking to the players afterwards, they've all pretty much said it was goosebumps on the coach sort of thing. And
but they all look nice and calm. We get all of the feeds of the players getting off the coaches where I work, and they didn't look overwhelmed by it, which I think was the key thing.
Yeah, it just added to it, didn't it? Added to it, so rather than
I'm just surprised, Craig, because we were at the Greyhounds, which was absolutely rammed, like elbow room, like queuing for miles. Yeah. I'm just you're always shocked and surprised how many people follow the town. And there would have been people all over, around different venues, different bars, but it looked like there were hundreds, maybe I'm not going to say thousands, but it looked like absolutely rammed there, Craig. Even it's just crazy, Ben. We don't see scenes like this.
There was also some footage of Fabio Wardley trying to drive through the traffic.
Yeah. I think
if anyone deserves to drive through there,
trying to keep a low profile.
He was at the Greyhound as well. He got a chant. Yeah.
To be fair, I'd rather he was driving through rather than throwing haymakers to get through the.
He's the one person that could clear his path fairly easily. You would imagine, wouldn't he? Dave, I was just speaking to Rich about this before we started. My brain, and it shouldn't. Still, I've called my dad driving around the M25 on the way in on Saturday. I called him and I was like, so the ways that this could go wrong are bang, 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 bang. And go back to that Bolton game. I remember the comment, I said, you know what a good side would do here? They'd show up and they'd win by 2-0. And did you have any nerves, Dave? Whatsoever?
No, honestly, I didn't. Honestly, no, not after the Barnsley game. And we said on the I think the post Barnsley pod that that Bolton game I think was the cat. Forget about we said the sliding doors moment was the Sheffield Wednesday game when Smith 1-on-1 to make it 3 doesn't, and then 10 minutes later Broadhead plants in the free kick just before half time to make it 2-1. But that Bolton game, I think, obviously was the catalyst of the run, wasn't it? Gave you so much confidence.
Emboldened them, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And then, the very next big game, Derby away, did exactly the same thing, scoring 2, again, unbelievable goals. And so much confidence was gleaned from those. And we're rolling everybody. Let's say Port Vale to one side, but rolling everybody else over at that point anyway. So, I think that Bolton game was certainly such a confidence booster.
Right, let's get into the action. Guys, it's been an amazing week. I think Richard and Dave did one of the best shows I've ever heard the podcast feed do, which really just kind of got to everybody's kind of feelings on Tuesday night. There's loads of you watching now. If you wouldn't mind just hitting the thumbs up button, just gives us a real help with all our data and keeping our friends at YouTube happy. So do hit the thumbs up button. Right, you two, Rich and Craig, have got a bloody hard job now to keep up with all of these goals. But in our Telegram exclusive, Rich, Jamie Mackey said, as a player in these games where it's tense and where one team might have less to play for, it's absolutely all about the start. And I dare say he was right. Let's get into this, and a pretty nice opener, Rich, for Connor Chaplin.
Yeah, I mean, it's 8 minutes in. Atmosphere, electric. A lot of people, very happy, chanting, etc. And what a great goal to set it off as well. I mean, the headline is Connor Chaplin doing Connor Chaplin things, but there's so much to love about this. Broadhead dropping in, drags out the Exeter midfield. Morsey in all kinds of space as well, pings a nice incisive pass to Chaplin, who's found himself a pocket of space around just outside the 18-yard box, drives forward. He's got 2 men, one out of position, one defender trying to cover. They can't get back in time. And what a shot. Curls it into the middle of the net.
It's exhilarating as it goes over the line as well, isn't it?
It's a great goal, a great finish. And it just took the nerves and, the release that everyone, we wanted the goal up before 15 minutes.
Yeah.
To script, isn't it?
I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but having watched it back 3 or 4 times, probably, you're so right. The clever part, the finish was brilliant, but what just a clever play to just find that pocket of space. It was such a clever run, and it made the ball from Morsey easy, really. Once he gets it out of his feet, absolutely deadly, brilliant.
But the Morsey pass, really, I think underrated. I don't think everyone's praising Morsey. An 8 out of 10 player every single week, runner-up player of the season. Chaplin's goals are going to take the headline, but Morsey, alongside Luongo, this central midfield partnership, this duo, really working, and it gives Morsey the kind of the scope to be able to figure this kind of stuff out. And it's a really lovely threaded pass straight to the feet of Chaplin. No mucking about, no playing it slightly behind him. Chaplin's perfect onto it, runs onto the ball. It's a great start, Ben. Cracking goal.
Craig, you're going to have to do 2 goals or we're going to be here all day.
Sorry.
So can you take me through Luongo and Hurst, which takes us to midway through the first half?
Yeah, well, the second goal is a bit of a probably the scrappiest one. Oh no, maybe
I think the third one is
possibly. Well, I might do that one as well, if I'm allowed.
Can I just ask your permission? Can we ban John Ward?
That was definitely going to come.
It's suggesting I get a chair. Yeah. So I think that's an immediate ban for John, isn't it? Carry on, Craig.
Yeah, but Hurst and Luongo are battling outside. They're out of the area, sort of bouncing around a little bit between people's feet. Hurst gets the better of it and slips Luongo through in the inside left channel. And he was using his left foot a lot yesterday, Luongo. And he got to the edge of the 6-yard box and just slammed it past the goalkeeper. As simple as that, really. They were having a few issues down that right hand side. Nath from Broadhead had the quarter of the pitch to himself. Can
we just give a shout out quickly? Sorry to interrupt, Craig. To young Pedro Borges, who was making his debut yesterday.
17. 17.
Wow. Not the one, wasn't it? Goal free, please, Craig.
Yeah. Well, this one, Luongo, again, he's on the left-hand side, and he feeds it down the left to Broadhead. And I say he's in...
it's filthy, isn't it, this? Sorry, go on.
Freedom of Portman Road.
He's in acres of space, and he takes it into the box outside of his right foot.
Outside of the boot, Craig. It's filthy.
Flies it across, and he 2 or 3 yards out, and there's 2 of them. There's Hurst and Burns are both bundling it in at the...
Merson-like, wasn't it? Merson-like.
Yeah.
Merson-like. Right, Rich, can you take us to 4 and 5-0? I can't believe we're glossing over this, but the chat is going to have a lot to say. And we've been a bit kind of fortunate, I think, with the 2 penalties this week, let's just say. Take me through the Broadhead and Chaplin for 4 and 5-0.
Yeah, just to confirm, this is 19 minutes after the opener. So we're about to score our 4th in 19 minutes. Broadhead involved again, drops back in, frees Chaplin, who's in, takes a bit of a heavy touch, falls neatly into the path of Burns, and Caprice has a bit of a boob, and a penalty. Broadhead hammers it home to the net. No kind of mistakes this time. He hit it, struck it hard against Barnsley, but probably a bit too central. This was right in the top left-hand corner, right in the postage stamp or the opposite side, isn't it? But perfect pen, and Portman Road rocking.
And give me the 5-0 goal as well, where you're there, Rich. Connor Chaplin moves ahead of someone we've praised a lot, Johnson Clark-Harris, in the Golden Boot race, as if this season couldn't get any better. Well, it could get very much better on the last day of the season, but we'll come to that.
Yeah, well, so we're 5 minutes later, and still we're not done. We're on the 32nd minute mark, guys. Again, as Craig has mentioned, so much space down the right. Luongo in for Broadhead, down the side. There you go, Neil. Thank you. Side foot cross into the box, curls it in, and there's a multitude of defensive mishaps here. Poor headed clearance in the first place. Number 5, I've forgotten his name. Apologies. Jumps up for the head and misses it, and then just serves it on a plate to Chaplin. And to be fair to Chaplin, is it Partridge? Partridge. Sorry, no P.
Partridge with an H.
Chaplin
evolve, not revolve.
No. And it falls neat. I mean, yes, Chaplin is unmarked, but he just lashes it on the volley. No thinking about it. Straight into the bottom corner. The keeper has no chance whatsoever. And it's like the commentary for the Watford Leicester. Don't scratch your eyes. Like, couldn't believe it. 5-0.
Dave, I assume you were able to kind of keep a little bit of tabs on what was going on.
Well, it was quite funny because I was sitting at the hospital with family, and although my boys went, I gave my ticket to my eldest, and in the sort of cordoned off cubicle, the curtained off cubicle away across the ward, obviously there was a guy with a match on, and I could hear the volume going up as the goals went, and he's going. I said, "I'll keep his. Tell us what's going on." And all I can do is pipe the 1-0, and then again, sort of 5 minutes, 2-0, 3, 4, and I thought, "Yeah, come on, you had me on, surely." But yeah, it was something else when it 5-0 32, and yeah, you think, Christ, this could well be double figures. Games, as we know from experience, games seldom pan out. Well, sometimes they do, 1995, whenever, but yeah, they seldom pan out like that. But absolutely ruthless, wasn't it? Brilliant.
Incredible. And Rich, you were sort of saying that it feels like the emotional journey you'd normally go on these type of afternoons where you could get a promotion feels like it was just like a washing machine, and it all went in fast forward. And before you had time to, okay, we're 1-0 up, I'm feeling a bit nervous. 2, we've got it, we're going to do this. And it's 5-0 up. And I think you made a good point that perhaps some of the emotion of the day was just torn away slightly by the sheer ruthlessness and efficiency of the team.
Yeah, if you're McKenna, the message is leave nothing to chance. Don't, there's a potential banana skin here. Exeter nothing to lose, as we talked about off the top. But we just went into it so quickly and so...
Look at this pitch, sorry. He looks like Bobby Moore there. Richard Lee in the picture.
Morsey?
Look at that. I like that. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's Morsey, I think, on someone's shoulders.
And it's not Richard Lee, it's Sam Morsey. There you go.
and because it happened so quickly as well, because there's no kind of real thinking time. Exeter had, I think there's 1-0 where Exeter get in as a shot for Dimitri Mitchell, I think, across Walton. There's no time really to get your head together, I think. And as personally, obviously 5-0 happy days, right? And there's no drama now at this point. But you kind of feel that it sounds weird to say it, but there's a little bit of drama in it being a little bit uncomfortable and awkward, and then Ipswich Town coming out on top. That's the kind of nice narrative where you maybe hang in there for half an hour, and then you score, and then you could have built on it. But because it had to say kiss kiss bang bang, it was difficult to process. Apart from, well, that's job done, isn't it? That's great, right? Get to full time now. We'll get on the pitch.
It was kind of like those last game, those last days of the season under Burley before leading up to the playoffs. The Blackburn Man City games, the Bradford City games, etc. But almost in reverse, because I was looking at BBC Sport and getting text, just checking the goal alerts and stuff. And Michael Smith's literally scored his goal a minute before Chaplin scored, I think.
Oh, you can imagine?
Yeah. You ran to Sheffield Wednesday, go, oh, here you go, boys. Still 0-0 at Portman Road.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
It's kind of been a fun half time for Sheffield Wednesday fans.
I mean, honestly, yeah. I think that obviously there was a degree of acceptance looking at some of the comments coming through.
So I hate to do this because I love to bury Joe Fairs, but he's been talking about this 100 goals, 100 points thing, and we've shut him down and said, "Shut up, Joe. I mean, it's ridiculous. No one scores 100 points, gets 100 goals." Craig, can I take you behind the scenes at ITV, because I got shouted at by Joby McAnuff because there's
Clang.
a stat.
Whang!
Have you seen my Twitter pictures? That's the ultimate clang in that one this week. So we got Stats Guy sits on the corner of the desk, Craig, and obviously I've got to find all the narratives. So I'm like, how many goals is that? Christian, how many goals is that? Where are we now? And about the fourth time I asked, Joby was like, you know exactly how many goals it is. Shut up bloody asking now. But 98 goals it got up to by half time, Craig. And Wes Burns made it 99 not long after half time.
Yeah, with an awful lot of the half still to go. And this goal starts from Walton. I think it was certainly being passed around the back. It got out to Clark on the right touch line. And he knocks it forward towards Chaplin, and Chaplin does brilliantly. He controls it with his right and passes it with his left. Just 2 touches, controls with his right, passes it to his left, just swings it down the touch line over the top to Burns. Burns turns on his afterburners, and he's in on goal and the ball's bouncing once, twice, three times. The goalkeeper's stuck. He doesn't know whether to stick or twist. He's in no man's land, just gets lifted over him. And then he does some celebration. Now, Oscar did tell me what the name of the dance that he did.
It's called the griddy.
There you are.
This thing. I'm never going to do that again, but
That
carry
thing.
on.
Hi, kids.
Yeah.
The griddy. 6-0, 99 goals. You got to say you got a good probably 45 minutes left to play.
Craig, if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for your son.
Yes.
I've got 99 goals and I'd like another one.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about this actually, where we say is that once you get to 7, 7's completely different to 6. You see 6s, but 7.
You get to write 7 in words on the video printer, don't you?
It's video printer brackets, isn't it? Unfortunately, we couldn't quite get the video printer man to dust off his brackets. No euphemisms.
Chapman had a couple of shots blazed over Ben. They were trying to set him up at every opportunity.
Yeah, I always remember when Ian Rush was 1 away from the FA Cup goal scoring record and was fed the ball quite a lot by his Liverpool teammates, so he broke it. We should mention by this point now, Niall Ennis has scored for Plymouth at Home Park.
Deflected.
Stop it! You got to start giving them credit now after their 97 points confirmed. And we're all sitting there going, look, everybody's going to win, aren't they? And you sort of calculating Sheffield Wednesday's pain. But just take us through, Rich, in the stadium, those last minutes before promotion was confirmed.
Yeah, well, as I say, it's weird because I don't think any of us have experienced securing a definitive outcome at Portman Road, and anyone here has no. So it's when it's kind of so in your hands, there's no doubt left whatsoever. There's nothing anyone else can do. It was just sitting back and kind of enjoying it. The atmosphere continued to be pretty good, positive, lots of chants. George Hurst is subbed off, and there's a lot of sign him up, which we very much enjoyed. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, some more. But full-time whistle comes. I don't know. I'm trying to remember where there was a little of jiggery pokery with announcing the minutes and trying to manage.
We were told there was going to be, weren't we?
It was only about 4 anyway, I think, wasn't it? I think they only put 4 right.
Yeah, from right at the back of the North Stand, I kind of watch people try to.
I'm not reading these Plymouth comments out. This is disgusting behaviour.
Sorry, I'm trolling Plymouth. I didn't mean to. Yeah, and then people on the pitch, and not too many, to be fair. And I think the club expected it, and probably it's a good outcome because I know that it's never a good outcome when people get on the pitch and all that kind of stuff, but it could have been a lot more unmanageable. And then it's celebration time.
Only one of the Blue Monday team got booed this weekend. That's all, and we'll just leave it at that. That's it. Move on.
Have you ever seen my Twitter and YouTube comments, mate? I get booed 7,000 times a day.
Not by the Portman Road crowd. You don't.
No,
Dave,
it's almost one where you can kind of understand both points of view, can't you? You can understand wanting to, go onto the hallowed turf with no more home games to go. You can also understand the point of view of people who are worried about, particularly the safety of the Exeter players.
No, I think someone posted on our Telegram earlier. It was probably the police are trying to keep those fans away. We're going to get onto the pitch.
That's awful.
No, that's terrible.
That's shocking.
Awful,
Don't even read that, Neil Wilmore.
I
met Neil Wilmore at Barnsley. Carry on, Dave. Sorry.
We're trying to police really and the security really trying to stop those fans that perhaps he got on the pitch and were then going to act as dicks sort of thing. So I didn't see much of that. From what I saw in the footage, I didn't see much of that, to be fair. So
I think the players were up for it. The players were fine. Wolfenden was right in the middle of it. As soon as they were coming on the pitch, he was in the middle of it.
Clark, I think.
Morsey was
on shoulders.
Shown on the photo there. Yeah. Sorry, he's on people's shoulders. He was loving it. So it wasn't the players didn't see a problem with it. I say people come on, they got what they needed to out of it, and then relatively quickly they were back in their seats, ready for the procession.
Would you like to see the league table, everybody?
Go for it.
Have we got a P next to our name?
I don't know what. Who do we use? Footmob, don't we?
Haven't Plymouth changed their Twitter name?
Under it, shouldn't it?
Are you going to actually make me be an apologist for Plymouth here? I think they're not getting quite the respect they deserve here. But let's move on. There is the league table if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're listening after the fact, Plymouth 98 points from 45 games. Ipswich 97 points. So both sides can reach the 100-point mark with a victory on the last day of the season.
Madness.
Sheffield Wednesday will not be promoted automatically. They're in third place with 93. 93 points. And let's be quite frank about this. Barnsley came back from 4-1 at MK. They've got 86 points, which is a none too shabby normal sort of third place total down in
surely, Ben,
fourth.
in every other season, surely 93 would have got you automatic promotion, wouldn't it? Or whatever.
Every other season,
or whatever they end with could conceivably be 90. Obviously, 96. For
Dave,
Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Look, we've spoken about this a lot. It's not only every other season; it's every other season in every other division, other than the Premier League when Liverpool and
Man City.
But still, we're going to get second place. But Dave, we've spoken about this a lot. League One is, go David Brent now, a unique melting pot of former Premier League teams and high-functioning small teams, and it splits in the middle. And some of the resources that Bolton and Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday have got up against Cheltenham and Accrington, and we have the utmost respect, believe me, after the last 4 years for these teams. But Dave, you can see why we always get somewhere. Where is it this season? I bet there's a huge gap somewhere. So look, 7 points down to Barnsley and then 8 points. So the gap between Bolton and Sheffield Wednesday is 2 places. It's 15 points.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there's no other huge discernible gaps. But Dave, it is a result of the pyramid being what it is. This is where Bolton, who've been in the Premier League, meet Morecambe, isn't it?
It's that old saying. It is the haves and the have-nots, isn't it? It just is. And I think you're right. The division will always pan out that way.
Yeah, 100%. Let's just because I'm sure we can chat about this with great freedom now about this this playoff scrap, because it could be absolutely fascinating. Because currently Sheffield Wednesday would play Derby. And on the last day of the season, Sheffield Wednesday play Derby. And were Peterborough to go to Barnsley and win on the last day of the season, they could potentially meet Barnsley in the final if things work out that way. So Sheffield Wednesday are definitely going to finish third. They're going to be playing whoever finishes sixth. Barnsley are definitely going to finish fourth. So they're going to be playing whoever finishes fifth. Bolton could get overtaken by Derby or... Peterborough could get in there. It's basically 3 from 2, but Bolton look pretty nailed on, and Peterborough are the rank outsiders. And as we've mentioned, they're both going away to difficult sides. But Rich,
just quickly, with a thought on that. I assume the Golden Boot is just over the 46-game season, isn't it?
Yes, it's a separate competition at the end. Yeah, so don't worry about Johnson Clark Harris banging in the penalties. Yeah. In the that's a very mean comment. That wasn't mean spirit. I take that back. It's an excellent striker there. Richard, how do you see it panning out in terms of those?
I was just quickly trying to find in terms of how who's going to get in the playoffs. I think Derby will get that point.
So it's either Derby or Peterborough, isn't it? For 6.
I think Derby will. I think Derby will get there, and then. If I'm Sheffield Wednesday, I'm thinking, man, I don't want to face Paul Warren's Derby. But, we know that Derby, in terms of the squad, it's a little,
big game, that.
It's maybe they've been on a decent run, but maybe started to drop a few points here and there. It's an old team reliant on McGoldrick and Hourahan, but it's playoff football. You reset and you're happy if you're 6th or 5th to be in there. And if you're Barnes and Sheffield Wednesday, you're a bit miffed your season's gone that way. So psychologically, that's at play. But Sheffield Wednesday... I'm trying to look. Barnsley, Derby.
I know, while you're doing that, Rich, I know before, Ben, you've said about teams finishing third, and that's a bit of a myth that they don't often get through
in the Championship. Playoffs. Sorry, Craig. When I've done the research, I need to do some digging on League One. Sorry, go ahead.
But just about Sheffield Wednesday, I think they might suffer because they've had a right kick in the rocks, haven't they? The last 2 or 3 months has just been atrocious for them.
I mean, do you know, are they going to have Byers and Windass fit? Byers going to be fit for the playoffs?
Windass came on right at the end yesterday, so he'll be there. Michael Ehekwe came back. Byers is not going to...
Yeah, they announced Byers is out now, isn't he?
He's out. He's done for the season, is he? Wow.
Yeah.
He's been a big miss.
So on the head-to-heads, Ben, Barnsley haven't beaten Bolton this season. In fact, they've drawn a
double
loss.
Sheffield Wednesday, right?
Yeah. So there's some interesting permutations here. Derby have, Barnsley have beaten Derby. Sheffield Wednesday obviously played Derby in the last. That's such an interesting game, isn't it? As you say, Ben, that they're facing each other.
What do you do? But because essentially there's two wrinkles to this in the respects of A, resting players, and B, not giving away tactics in terms of if you're going to go and play another game. Do you think our own Craig looks a bit like Bolton manager Ian Evatt? Can anyone else see that in that light?
I think it's a bit of Mark Ashton going on as well. Then.
I'll have that. Yeah, I'll be over that.
Get your white shirt on.
Yeah, my tight white shirt. If I was Mark Ashton, I'd be right in the middle of these four. I wouldn't be in the corner.
I'll leave him alone. Let him have his
Don't put Ashton in the corner.
Oh, no one puts Ashton in the corner.
Bolton's trip to Wembley as well for the Pizza Cup 4-0. There's no fear for them and returning back to there, isn't it? It's going to be. I can't really call it, Ben. I really can't.
It's a real tough. It's a real tough one. If Derby, you think Derby would get the point? Yeah, that is a toughie. That's competitive.
Good set of playoffs, isn't it?
Guys,
we would love to go to your questions. Moreover, we'd like to read some of your comments of your experiences of yesterday. So do get in right now. If you want to put a question in, just stick a little Q before it and make sure you put a question mark afterwards. Richard, what do you think of my T-shirt?
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Where can I get one, Ben?
I don't know. Would you like to tell me?
I need to answer my own question. He's got a hoodie. I'm the only one. I've got the blackout away the third kit on. I feel embarrassed now, but yeah. Anyway, Blue Monday ITFC.co.uk is where you can find everything. People, I don't think, know that we've got a website, and we get a lot of what shows are on this week and what time are they and where can I find you. So Blue Monday ITFC.co.uk, everything is there, including our merch store. I'm sure we'll have a promo at some point, but you can get a T-shirt, you can get a long sleeve T-shirt, you can get a hoodie, get a dog bandana, all sorts for your boots. Blue Monday logos on there. So happy days. And the link to our amazing Telegram group as well. The debate has been fantastic. The match day chat buzzing yesterday. So you got one more week of match action to enjoy of that. But then we'll have all kinds of exclusive. We've got a great chat with Jamie Mackey, really insightful stuff on of something that we've grappled
Richard,
with.
You booked a pantomime villain will be coming up. I will say no more.
There you go.
Ipswich Town history on a Telegram exclusive very soon.
There you go. Coming soon. We've got Q&As, all sorts, but it's just great. Yesterday, we had Sully and Tom over from the States who are part of the Telegram community. We had about 15, 20 guys pre and post match as well. I can't remember all your names, but fantastic to see people in person as well yesterday. So if you want to be part of that community, I'm sure it'll be annoying and transfer rumory all summer, which I hate, but I'm sure loads of people love. So yeah, Blue Monday ITFC.co.uk is where you can find all of our details.
Can I just say, we witnessed a goal on Friday, Ben, at the academy game, which you would have absolutely loved. It was a Yeboah-esque.
Did you see my vlog?
Hit the bar, came down, hit the bar again, went in.
I love it. Absolutely loves it. Right, we're going to get into some questions. You three, I'm going to give you a 20-second limit, and we only need an answer from one member of the pod because there are loads. Keep your questions coming in. This is brilliant. You will never work in a place like this again. I'm going to answer this one. Charlie, how much is promotion to the champ now worth? So in terms of broadcast money, Charlie, we think we go up from around 1.5 million to about 7 or 8 million. Not a huge deal. In terms of actuality of money, the commercials should go up. The gate receipts should go up. The broadcast, as I've said, will go up. But we think Game Changer are going to play a 3-year game and try and recoup losses with sales in year 3. So we will make more money, but I think everybody's hoping we will be spending more money, as we discussed on our lovely Telegram group. Richard, Paul, how many seasons in the champ until we get to do this all again? No, Paul, come on.
Yeah, before I forget to say this, when we started the podcast, I'm certain that you guys, certainly Ben and Dave, you didn't assume that the first promotion we'd be talking about would be out of League One into the Championship, but we are where we are. I think, Paul, we're really set up neatly to maybe next season a bit of a stretch. It'd be good to emulate Sunderland, but yeah, 2 or 3 years. I think that's a good model for me.
It's that 3-year FFP kind of really got a chance to leverage the fact that your owners have got money and maybe can spend it. But guys, please don't be an Ipswich fan that wants lots of money spent, but also doesn't expect any players to ever be sold ever. It's about now money coming in as well as money coming out, else we getting a points deduction fairly quickly. Let's just say a big thank you. I'm going to scroll all the way down here to Paul.
Oh, Paul.
Who's just 10 quid on the super chat.
Very,
very kind. Paul, thanks so much for the chats, mates. And all you guys do fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Paul, you can support via super chat. Thank you very much indeed. John, Craig, what do you think is a realistic expectation for us next season?
Certainly top half. I was talking just today actually about with a couple of guys. I was watching my boy play football this morning. We were chatting about it, saying, well, you look in the playoff, in and around the playoff positions. You got your Luton and the Millwall and the Coventry. You think, well, are we not set up to be equal? Certainly punching around that particular area of the table.
In case anyone's listening, Craig, just remove Luton from that bracket. But I agree with all the other teams. Luton are very good.
Yeah. Well, Sunderland gone up, haven't they? They're still 8th, 10th, whatever they happen to be. So I think that's a realistic expectation, is 10th to 12th. And these guys, they're not gonna die wondering.
It's drunk men fighting the race for 5th and 6th in the Championship at the moment, Craig.
Yeah. But I think that's where we're looking at. We'll be looking at top 8. I reckon is top 8, top 10 is a realistic expectation. I think.
Dave, Kirk, which areas do we need to strengthen for the Championship? I think each of our starting 11 are good enough, but not our backup players.
Yeah, I think, again, we spoke about this the other night. I think probably a centre-half, certainly a centre-half, I would have thought, and a striker. Let's hope it's George Hurst, but if not, certainly another striker. So, yeah, no doubt there'll be others, but yeah, I think as an essential, those 2 positions, I would say.
You would have thought the guy that was on the pitch celebrating, who's not our own player at the end of the game, might also be signing.
That's a good point. Yeah, you would think so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, and I think we'd all welcome that, wouldn't we?
Chris, and I'm going to have to wrap my brains here. Ben, who out of the current Premier League loanees at Champ clubs would be a good fit for Town? So Aston Villa have been the ones, because they've sent Irogbenham, Philogene, Archer, Ramsey. They've absolutely filled it. Brighton as well. There's always good players there. I will mention poor old Joe Fairs again. He's far more knowledgeable than me on the under 18. And I think that's kind of where you want to go. If you look at what Sheffield United have done with Doyle and McAtee, I don't think we're going to be able to get Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea players, etc. But that's made all the difference. And if someone actually wants to show poor old Plymouth some respect, loan moves can be utterly, utterly vital. And building those relationships with the clubs up the ladder, year upon year is important. Richard.
Sorry, just very quickly, a name came up yesterday in the context of Burnley's promotion, possibly a Championship line. Scott Twine. I forget who mentioned it, but I'm not sure where you fit him in. But it's be interesting to see. I'm not sure he's getting Premier League.
He ain't playing in the Premier League, is he? Bless him, love him. But
and we like.
Where would he fit in at the moment?
I don't know. There you go.
But in our team or in Burnley's team? There you go.
In our team.
I think we had a Burnley fan in. He can answer us in the chat. Richard, any chance Port Vale do us a favour next week? Port Vale lost 3-2 at Charlton yesterday. They are without manager at the moment. I think someone put in the chat they've got quite a good record against Plymouth, if that means anything.
I was going to slopey shoulder that one. I forget who it was, but someone said that I think Plymouth have only won one of their last 7 meetings. I think in the chat. Apologies if you want to repeat it, that would be really helpful. But yeah, look, anything can happen on the last day. Port Vale, nothing to lose, etc., etc. They're safe, so who knows? Maybe we've got to do the business of Fleetwood if we want to win the league, don't we?
I would expect us to beat Fleetwood. Rich,
so much.
Are you confident?
Now.
Well, I'm just referring to the videos that I've seen on Twitter for the last 24 hours and wonder whether the players.
It's just psychology of this week and
they're enjoying themselves, aren't they?
Yeah,
keeping it going throughout a
job done, etc.
A week when the job's done. Craig, Ramo, who are we struggling to retain for next season?
I don't think anyone, to be perfectly honest, not under our powers, if you'd like to be. It'll be our choice if if people leave, people are on decent contracts, they're on a decent wedge within those contracts. So you would have thought that the teams that are going to potentially improve these guys' wages are going to be very, very, very top end championship teams. But then you'd think that we could fend them off. The guys, as you saw from all the celebrations and the chants and the change room, these guys are enjoying themselves.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Hooray! There it is.
8:45 p.m. everyone. 8:45 p.m.
Yeah,
Check
8:45.
check your bingo cards.
Yay!
Craig, I don't want to do this, but McKenna.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And this is where, but you're right, Richard. This is where we have to be very grown up and kind of accept the world for how it is. That we've just battered through the last 3 months, and people are going to want to sign our players and our manager. And you can accept the world as it is sometimes, or you can be very defensive about it and make up a million reasons, about schools and children and all of this. And he said that, but it's going to happen. Obviously, the manager's different than players, but it's important in the championship with a hard spending limit as well. You have to sell players. You really, really do, and we have to learn. Oh my God, we have to learn.
Mate, let me go on. Let me mute this.
We have to learn, Craig, that it's not the worst thing in the world to sell players.
No, and also what you would expect is, and we were talking about this yesterday after the match, is how many duds have the McKenna/Ashton partnership brought into the club? Can't think of one. Not signings wise.
Well, let me just push back on that, and because when you look at the ruthless January, essentially Marcus Harness was replaced with Nathan Broadhead, and Marcus Harness came in.
He'd done a job for the first, but he'd done his job for the first 6 months. Yeah,
and
there you go then.
No, but do you know what I mean? They've been very ruthless in upgrading players that weren't bad, were they?
No, but they found someone who was better than the guy who had done a job in the first half of the season.
But you used the word dud, Craig. If they were, I'm trying to think of a.
I wouldn't call him a dud if he's done a job in the first half.
But why replace him?
Because you found someone who's better who was available. Doesn't make the person that he's replacing a dud, does it? If he's done a job.
Yeah, but if they were fit for purpose, would they be replaced?
Well, I didn't say he wasn't fit for purpose. I'm saying he wasn't a dud.
No, I'm not saying you're saying you're not fit for purpose. I'm saying if he is fit for purpose, why would he be replaced?
We used the word dud. We didn't say fit for purpose.
You used the word dud. I didn't. Why would he be replaced if he was fit for purpose?
Because you found someone who's better than him. The guy's fit for purpose, yes, but he's found someone who's even fitter for that purpose.
Only the fittest will survive. Indeed. Oh my God! Right, he's muted himself, Craig. Let's go back to Richard. Do we think TJJ will be back permanently next season?
Yeah. There you go. I'm buying back some time from that ridiculous debate that you guys were just having for the last.
That's an excellent debate. Did you enjoy it, Craig?
Yeah, I did.
Some semantics there. Who put that up? I'm in charge of the thing.
Oh, are you sorry? I didn't. My finger must have slipped.
Oh, really? Okay. Have you got control of that? Yeah, evidently.
We're gonna have a review in the summer, Ben. Don't worry.
Yeah, right.
Access rights will be changed.
Neil, how was David? How was Chaplin not up for Player of the Year, and how did Hurahan get in the tip? Oh, I wouldn't worry too much about that, Dave.
No, not really. Am I right in saying we said this the other night? Did Collins win that award? Aaron Collins.
He did.
Did he win the?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's done over perhaps if it took into account the last 6 weeks, I think it's done and dusted before then, pretty much, isn't it? I think then you'd think he certainly would have had a shout, because I'm sure Clark Harris was also nominated, wasn't he? In the top 3, I'm pretty sure.
He was indeed. It was Clark, Harris. Who were the 3? Collins
and Bannon.
Was it Bannon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've missed a couple of super chats here. Nat.
Oh, Nat.
Very magnanimous Sheffield Wednesday friend.
Been a really, really good contributor.
Good luck,
as
Nat.
well.
All the best,
Nat.
Yeah, all the best, mate.
Neil, £3 on the super chat. What a team! One more push, guys. Come on, you Blues. Right, guys. Thank you for all of your questions. I will move on because I just kind of want to get everybody's sense of yesterday and what this means and how we should kind of process it, because sometimes you see teams and they've been promoted and it's all glorious, and then 3 months later they're sacking the manager and the fans are all booing and everything they've done has been forgotten, and football moves very fast. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that will happen here, but particularly trying to cover this on the podcast over the last 8 years, this is pretty much all we've ever asked for. And the way that it's happened, this winning streak from post Valentine's Day, I just think this is absolutely incredible. And the last 75 days or whatever we've called it, I know there's been, great moments and cup wins and Wembley, but we'll go to Dave, who's watched for the longest. In terms of a 75-day period and a story from, I won't say beginning to end, but kind of middle to end.
Yeah,
where does this fit in?
Never known anything like it. You just haven't, have you? Because going back to post Bristol Rovers game, automatic had gone, and once we spoke, me and you spoke, and automatic had totally gone. Then obviously you went to the game, the Barnsley Sheffield Wednesday game, and I remember you saying after that, but Sheffield Wednesday probably were a bit unlucky actually at the end of the day, and they'll roll over Forest Green, whoever they got to play in the run. But I mean, Joe, we said about these games, and Joe was the one. Joe Fairs came out and said, "I think we'll win a lot." He
was drunk.
Yeah, obviously, Joe. But it's just inconceivable, really, isn't it? So, what is it? So it's 14 games, won 13, drawn 1. Is it 47 scored in that time?
It's 2 conceded. It's 40-something scored.
It's just absurd. This doesn't happen really in any level of professional football, really. I mean, probably I'm not sure what the stats have been like in the national with obviously Wrexham and Notts County. I mean, they're both had unbelievable seasons, but it is just completely unprecedented in the goal. Just the turnaround in the goal difference. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? And we're now got, I think, we're 20. Is it 20 goals better than the next nearest goal difference, even
20 to Plymouth? Yeah.
And it's just the style it's been done in, and some of the great goals. I mean, some of the goals that we have scored in this running. I mean, I always go back to the Chaplin goal at Derby. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen an Ipswich Town side score. So it's just been unprecedented, really, and fantastic.
I was thinking
just quickly, Craig, sorry to interrupt. Just quickly say thank you to Neil. 20 euros on the Super Chat. He did have a message as well. Won't hear next Sunday's show, so thank you from me for a great season Blue Monday pod. Sorry, Craig, Karen.
Thank you, Neil. No, I was thinking this earlier. Do you reckon there's a happier set of fans in the top 4 divisions than ours at the moment? Just with everything that's going on at the club, everything that's happened in the last 2 years and the last 3 or 4 months. And I say everything that's going on. You were saying earlier, Rich, about the amount of people that are outside the ground, just that groundswell of support, the kids that are around, the football that's being played. Is there a happier set of football fans in the country, top 4? We'll take Wrexham aside for a bit, than ourselves at the moment? I can't think there is. Not even Plymouth.
Probably the only other one would be Plymouth, wouldn't it?
I don't think
Plymouth.
So.
That would be
even someone like Stevenage or Leyton Orient. They've kind of come from nowhere this season. Burnley are used to being,
but compared to what we had 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, to be where we are now, momentum.
It's such a transformation.
Plymouth were nearly there last year, so they've sort of been on that journey before. We haven't.
We finished 11th last season, Craig.
God. It's such a transformation, isn't it? It really is. And you said, so we've probably gone from having the most miserable set of fans, and quite rightly so.
Yeah.
2 years. No, honestly, 2 years.
I was going to say on Valentine's Day. Did you do the show on Valentine's Day?
Possibly. You know what I mean?
That was a dirge, wasn't it?
Quite having the most positive, happiest fans. And look, we've all been, I've supported Ipswich. I don't need to bang on about that, and a bit like Rich in some respects. It's Ipswich Town. What's around the corner? Something bad's around the corner, but you just can't see it. Everything is there. The infrastructure's in place. As we quite said, now the team as it is now, I think is more than capable of holding its own in the championship. And it's only, as we said, it's only going to get more investment, wheeling, dealing in the transfer market in the summer. So much to look forward to.
Rich, what's your take? It doesn't really get, unless you barge your way through the Premier League, like into the Premier League, like Sheffield United did, and finish 9th. It doesn't really get too much better than, you know, just completely smashing through and end of season winning a promotion. And you look at the home results as well: 4-0, 4-0, 6-0 twice now, 4-0 again. Sorry, go on. You're summing.
Yeah, I mean, there's an emotional response to this, and there's a factual. And let me start with the factual one. I've listed where we are. I'll do this as quickly as I can. Where we're the stat leaders in the division: fewest defeats, most goals scored, fewest goals conceded, highest goal difference, equal first with clean sheets, highest XG, highest goals per match, lowest goals conceded per match. We've only failed to score 3 times this season. We've got an XGA of 0.93, less than 1 goals per game against expected. Most shots per game, most shots on target, highest average possession, highest average pass completion, highest accurate passes, fewest shots against, most set piece goals. In the last 10 games, we've got an average of 2.8 points per game. In the last 5, along with Plymouth, it's 3 points per game. At home, we've got the most goals scored, highest goal difference. We've got the top scorer. We've got the highest assist maker. We've got the highest goals and assist maker. We've got the most shots on target per 90 in Freddie Ladapo. The highest accurate passes per 90 in Lee Evans. The most chances created in Leif Davis. The most successful dribbles per 90 in Carl Edwards. So factually, Ben, I know that we're not going to win the league. I think we're the best team.
That's
in
the
division.
punchline, isn't it?
I think in terms of the overall package, and look, I'm not trying to be annoying and deliberately, besmirch Plymouth, because they've had an amazing season and Schumacher's done a fantastic job there. And the idea that they're there on luck and these deflected goals, which I was joking about, there's a point where that isn't luck anymore. That is just relentless performance. But this team,
it's a repeated pattern, Rich. Deflections
exactly
and late
right.
goals aren't luck if it's repeated.
It's the repeated pattern, spot on. In terms of the emotional thing, though, we've got a fantastic ownership who are invested. All 3 guys from the Game Changer guys were there yesterday. We've got a CEO that, again, we had Bristol City fans willing to tell us all of his flaws, but he's just been relentless in trying to find every opportunity, every margin. The 4 signings in January, but the coaching staff, McKenna, this going from this possession-heavy style. In the last few weeks, last few months, we've just converted into more direct, more relentless attacking, and he's had to compromise on maybe some of his ideals, but it all kind of centers around him and this squad of players: Harry Clark, Luke Wolford, and on the pitch yesterday, singing anti-Norwich chants. It's just everything is together. The fan base is reunited, and that momentum, Ben, super powerful. We've seen it before, these double bubble promotions. I'm not here predicting top 6. I might.
Well, that's where I would disagree with Colin here in the chat. Points is all that matters. I think what Rich is saying debunks it. If you have a pattern of play that will fly through into the next season, then
would I rather be us or Plymouth in the Championship next season?
Exactly.
I'd 100% want to be us.
And you've noticed that McKenna said in one of his interviews at post-match is that, congratulations to Plymouth and Steve Schumacher, done a fantastic job. They've come out on the right side of some very tight matches.
Yeah,
words to that effect is what he said, which they have done, which is good to say when your team's just spanked someone 6-0 to win promotions and conceded 2 goals in the past 15 matches, whatever it is. So, there are performances. And as we say, you would hope that, the way that we play and the stats that Rich has just stood out stands us in good stead for.
Here's a stat forward. I heard yesterday. Who's made the most appearances for Town this season? Without looking.
Walton?
Wolfenden?
Yeah, Walton would be my...
Freddie Ladapo.
Oh, what games appeared in? Oh, interesting.
52.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's another thing as well, Ben. Like we've
great stat.
This 11 that we've now got. This every week it's the same 11. Done a massive job there. But you look at the strength and depth there, the contributions made by the likes of Danasi and Edwards, Harness earlier in the season as well, Ladapo in a big way. He's got 20 goals as well. It's a team, it's a collective. And the videos we've seen on Twitter in the dressing room, on the pitch afterwards, out and about in town as well. And the amount of hugging that I've done with random strangers and people that I know in the last 24 hours has been off the chain. So, in terms of happiness, it's so great to be talking about this stuff rather than another Paul has been sacked or Marcus Evans has done another interview where it's scripted and it's bullshit.
Still would be nice to round it off still would be nice to round it off with a title, though,
It'd
wouldn't
be
it?
I feel like
amazing.
McKenna deserves it for not winning Manager of the Season, and yeah,
well,
I know these things don't matter, but
no, but surely Schumacher is the manager of the season on the basis
Narrative.
On his
budget,
On his-
and
yeah.
on his
with
resources,
what-
on
the
his
context.
resources. Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you throw the
On his
context
resources.
Yeah, and
Incredible.
I
But
struggled
just-
to.
Just
I
so
did my
resilient. aren't they?
team of
Just-
the. I did my
incredible.
team of the season, and I struggled to explain this to Plymouth fans that I put McKenna as my manager to manage my team, which wasn't me saying he's the manager of he's the guy that's done the best job with what he's got this season. It was me saying, if I wanted someone to produce football for me to watch, and it's not to say Stephen Schumacher wouldn't play how we've played if he had the resource that we had. I had a really good look at it, though. I think two things how he's beaten us, Craig. One, I think he knew the EFL better than Kieran McKenna for longer and earlier into the season. Promoted with Ryan Lowe in League Two, played in it for most of his career. McKenna's learned fast. And I hadn't realised this until I did my Plymouth analysis. They were ready to go right from the word go. They played and beat all the top sides at home by the time everyone else had got their shit together. Plymouth had beaten everybody at home park, Craig.
Yeah, that's right. There was, I suppose to that, well, they may have been lucky in that respect because they got to play all those teams at home while, as you say, while those teams are finding their feet. And, that's once you got that run going and the fortress mentality down there. And, it's just
and off the back of an 80-point season last time, they were ready to go, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just their resilience after every sort of bad result. There hasn't been many, let's face it, or setback. They've just bounced back and strung results together every single time.
Look at the set pieces, Dave. Like last season, we were bemoaning that we had no threat from set pieces anymore. Now, most goals from set pieces.
That's what I'm talking about him learning the EFL, though, Rich.
Yeah,
and even the troublesome games. We bemoaned. I don't think any of us are going to miss the kind of these awkward away trips in League One, small grounds, rubbish pitches, rubbish referees, time wasting, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not going to massively change in the Championship. The grounds might get bigger and the pitches might be getting better, but there's always strategies and tactics to frustrate teams like Ipswich and the approach that McKenna has. But the pragmatism, Ben, I think you mentioned it in there's a really excellent show that you put out on your channel about how McKenna evolved his style.
He just got it, didn't he? Yeah.
Figured it out. And, we need to give credit to the backroom team as well. Martin Pert, I'm sure, is massively unsung. Lee Grant doing great work as well. There's a lot of analytics stuff there as well. The resources are there to make it sustained success rather than just getting up there and then keeping your head above water in the Championship. And
the
as we said, the owners won't want that either.
Dave, the point I was sort of trying to make in that video was that it's great that McKenna's done the Mourinho learning tree. He almost needed the Liam Richardson, Paul Warren side of it as well. Sorry, go on, Dave.
No, I was going to say, with your EFL team, were you picking players from each, 11 players from separate clubs?
Oh yeah, I did separate clubs. You can find that over on YouTube. Right. Sensational. We absolutely love it. It's been 75 days of absolute sheer bliss. Let's go round, Richard. We need to better Plymouth's result. I've got that right, haven't I? They go to Port Vale, we go to Fleetwood. No, that's not because can is objectively possible. Will Ipswich win League One on Sunday?
I've been pretty consistent that second is ours. If it's second, I'm happy with where we are. I think here's a random prediction. I think both Plymouth and Ipswich will draw. We'll contrive a draw each next Sunday. But yeah, it'd be great to have the endorsement of a title. And also, where are Plymouth at Port Vale? I'm trying to think the distance to fly the trophy around as well. But yeah, look, it'd be great to do it, but the job's done. The job's done,
Oh, before we come to you, Craig, quickly, Bits has just appeared in the chat. Look, he's raised £4,400 and given 5 of it to us. I don't think he's quite got the idea here.
I thought for a minute he was giving us 4,400 quid.
That's David Burgoyne's super chat, Bill, not Bits. And we must say thank you to David.
That's superb, Bits. That is brilliant, mate.
Streamlined.
£4,500 for the what's the motor neuron disease charity called? I can't remember.
Derby Rimmer.
Derby Rimmer. Yeah, amazing stuff.
Brilliant, mate.
It's brilliant. Craig, the title.
Yeah, well, along with 1,100 others and maybe a few extras, just having a weekend in Blackpool. I'll be there next week. Yeah, so why not? Sod it, let's go for it. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
We will into it, and we'll all cram into one of those little fairy carriage things that the donkeys drag up and down the Golden
On the
Mile
big
Golden Mile.
with our flags out the window. Before we'll go, Jason, who was at the pub yesterday, he come from Gloucester. Give him a shout out. He was sat there all by himself. He couldn't get a ticket for the game, but he'd driven from Gloucester just to be in the town for when it happened.
No
so he was sat
way.
in the he was sat in the
Oh, I love
Greyhound beer garden with a few others as well. He was saying there's about 12, 14 others all just sat in the pub beer garden following the game one means or another. So yeah, shout out to him.
Dave, Plymouth don't
Do you
mess
know
up,
what? I
do they?
think so. I think it might. I think they're going to draw, and I think we're going to win, and I think we'll do it. There you go.
Fantastic.
Although they might score a
Absolutely
worldie
fantastic.
or a 85th minute deflection, but
They're going
hey,
to smash one in off the post in the 85th.
yeah, no, I think we might. I think it might happen. I think it might happen.
Morgan Whittaker is going to reappear somehow from off the books of Swansea, like if it was wrestling or whatever. He'd do a run in and score the winner off the post.
Michael Cooper will come off the bench and score a header, Stephen Glass-like in the last minute.
If only that Walton header had gone
Jimmy
in.
Glass.
Presumably, Hladky came off the bench yesterday so he can get a medal next week. That's the story, isn't it? He came off the bench.
I don't know how it works.
I know he came on about 10 minutes to go, didn't he? Yeah, that was. I meant to mention that earlier. Yeah.
I forgot to shout outs wise. Happy birthday, Seb. That's why Seb's not on the podcast.
Oh yes, Seb. Happy birthday.
There you go. That's it.
Beautiful. And it's Craig's birthday next week.
And Joe's.
And Joe's.
And Joe Fairs.
It's mine on August the 23rd as well.
Yeah,
when
July
we will be
25th.
playing. God, we could be like away. That's what I wanted to just quickly bring up. The championship lineup is looking absolutely
tasty,
stonking the way things are panning out at the bottom of the Premier League. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but you know, we might like a Leicester and Southampton, a Forest, Leeds, Everton. For God's sake, it could be absolutely brilliant. We've already got Plymouth. You guys have already outlined the playoffs. Some real proper clubs in there as well. It could be absolutely brilliant in the Championship next season.
Just quickly, Ben, as well. My birthday is September the 6th, by the way, which is usually an international weekend, but it hasn't been for the last few years. Now it will be. And we're not in the FA Cup first round. Bye-bye FA Cup first round. Bye-bye Pizza Cup. We'll not miss that. We'll not miss that.
Oh, amazing. I don't really know how to conclude it, but we spend a lot of time.
We've got super
we spend a lot of time when we're football fans, we're moaning and groaning, and it has been a bit crap. One promotion in 30 years. So drink it in, everybody, particularly these last 75 days. Absolutely incredible. We may not get times like these again. I don't know.
I can't end on that.
I don't know, but this good, where you've stormed right the way
Absolute
through.
Stat leaders,
yeah. Steve, Chef,
Steve.
Thank you. $9.99 on the super chat. We love it. Right, last word from you, Richard.
Just thank you. Like, this week has been immense on the pod, like unprecedented. Obviously, talking about a promotion's unprecedented here as well. But the numbers, thank you everyone listening. Thank you everyone watching. Obviously, there's another week of the season, so please stick with us. Usual shows next week as well. But thank you everyone for all the interaction, all the chat, all the people coming up and taking the piss out of us at the Greyhound. It's been immense. So thank you everyone. Enjoy your day off tomorrow on Monday as well.
Someone's just mentioned here a certain fixture that will be back on the calendar next season. Craig, last word from you.
Yes, similar to what you said, Ben. Just drink it in, enjoy it, enjoy the time now. But don't dwell too much on what's happened in the past. But just have a little look back and just think, Christ, we were.
You can look back, but don't stare. Just take that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Potmaster over here. Yeah,
don't want any of that.
They're not in that.
Don't want any of that.
Nah, zero. My 3 and 10 for that. Yeah, so just enjoy it, everyone. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy where we're at the moment. Things are finally looking up.
You will never find a better promotion than this. Fact. No, I've butchered the quote. Keep going.
David, last word from you, my friend.
Yeah, do you know what? Ditto. ditto, Rich and Craig, and really looking forward to the open bus procession with the trophy the week after next, probably Tuesday week, maybe probably Wednesday.
Thank you, everybody. This has been the most enjoyable episode of the Blue Monday podcast ever, I think. We've got
Got
Super